Well, I get the pleasure of leading this, getting this show on the road, and I want to thank everybody for showing up today. What a beautiful day. The weather is wonderful. There's no bugs. You couldn't ask for anything better, and that's kind of how this project has gone for us. So I am Brigadier General Dan Kramer, the commander of the Michigan Air Guard. General Rogers, my boss, the Adjutant General for Michigan, sends his regrets. He couldn't make it today, so you get the B team. So I can guarantee I'm going to be calling him on my way home, telling him how I screwed up. But no, that won't happen. This is pretty easy. With me today, I just want to make sure that you see the other flight suits in the back. I brought, oh, they're right behind me, yep. Lieutenant Colonel Shannon Vickers. He's the operations commander for the A-10 group. He will be leading that squadron that group into a transition to the F-15EX. Really proud of what he's doing with the unit right now, and he's really excited about what's to come. Even more important is our tanker pilot, Amy, and I say more important because Amy Podesky is a drill status guardsman, a mother of 4, has spent 20 years flying the aircraft and serving our nation, and she's going to be retiring shortly. And we wanted, right? And I think it's a testament to the Michigan National Guard that the members you see behind me are some of the best Michiganders you'll ever meet. And you know, if you get a chance, say hello to them. But outstanding people. So you know, I want to just give brief remarks on how we got here from a military perspective. Selfridge, I'm not going to give you the whole history, but 1917, July 1st, is when Selfridge stood up, Selfridge Field. Started as a training base. Fast forward to 1947, the Air Force stood up, and it became an active duty Air Force base. 1971, the active duty gave the base to the Air National Guard, where it thrived for several years. 1979 was an important date. In 1979, I think it's Representative Bonyers sent a letter to then Secretary of the Air Force asking to negate the plan to buy, with federal funds, homes in the southern clear zone along the Clinton River because they violated what we call safety zone or clear zone, a 3,000 by 3,000 foot box at the end of the runway. So the Air Force agreed, and in the next 50 years, we've just kind of muddled in this area where we didn't have an agreement that we could legally fly, but we flew anyway. Where that hurtled up, where that really bubbled up, and this is where our governor, we give you a lot of credit, ma'am. I can't thank you enough. But we had an issue with competing for a fighter mission. The A-10s are getting older, they're ready to retire, and every time we competed, we came in second. Unofficially, there was word in the Pentagon that Selfridge will never get a tactical fighter again because they have a clear zone issue that they're not going to be able to fix. Officially, it came down in the environmental impact statements that said, oh, you just don't have the right environment to fly fighter aircraft. General Rogers, my boss, worked with the governor and said, we have got to fix this. That's my boss's #1 priority, and he asked you, ma'am, and you obliged, and you made it happen. And here we are today with a runway solution that's fully funded by the state, taking any excuses away from giving us those F-15s that the governor worked so hard to get, and the new KC-46s that we're going to be flying in the future. The decades of decline at Selfridge have stopped, and we're now on an upward trajectory for the next 50 years at least. So thank you, ma'am. We appreciate your work. And you know, I'm looking to my right, and I'm going to introduce Speaker Hall, and I got to say a thank you to the legislators as well, because it took the whole team to make this happen. So thank you, and the next speaker I'm proud to introduce is Speaker Matt Hall.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, thanks. Yep, appreciate it. It's all good. Well, great. No, this is great. They're talking a lot about common ground here, Governor, and together we brought common ground to Michigan. We gave you another bill signing on this porch before you left. I remember we were here with you on the first one, the first year, and here in your last year, we gave you another one. We came together, We got Selfridge done. It was a great thing. You know, the governor and I went to meet with President Trump, and we gave him a very nice gift, and the governor and I asked him to bring the fighter mission here. He said yes, and then he came in and he announced the fighter mission at Selfridge, and that was a real iconic moment. I know we were with General Kramer, and that was a proud day at Selfridge. I mean, they said, you know, we're proud that we're winning again. That was a really proud day when he was there and spoke to everyone. Then the governor said, okay, now that we've secured an even better fighter mission than we even asked for, President Trump, can you move the timeline up? And she came to me. I said, I'll back you on that. So we backed her on it. And we had to move heaven and earth to get this thing. And I remember Secretary of the Air Force said, well, you guys in the Michigan legislature working with the governor have a better shot at getting this done before Congress does. If you guys get this done very quickly, I can get that to you before President Trump leaves office. We said deal. And I give Ron Robinson a lot of credit. Ron Robinson chairs the Military and Veterans Committee for us. He introduced a bill. He got it through the House in March. Took a little while, but they told me, they said, Speaker, we have never seen a clean supplemental before that wasn't stuffed full of pork. It's never happened, and we did that here with Selfridge. Ron Robinson did a great job, Alicia St. Germain on that. We moved this supplemental in March. We had the will to do it clean, to get it done by the deadline, and it's pork-free, which is good for you taxpayers out there. So now we're going to get the fighter mission. Now, we could have done this in March, but I know Leader Brinks has a lot of confidence in General Rogers to execute the construction perfectly. So we'll get it right there on the edge before President Trump leaves. But that's key, because if we'd waited until after President Trump left, we may never have gotten this mission. You know, today's day and age, these politicians come in, they reverse the last guy's decision. So it's really critical we get this done with President Trump before he leaves office. So thanks for your help with that, Governor. I know you gave some people a little nudge here and there. We did our part in the House, and we just barely made it. We're very proud of it. So congratulations, Governor. It's great to do this with you, and thank you, Mark Hackle. And we're doing so many of these together, Mark. I said, maybe you'll get a pen this time, you know. We have the fewest public acts in Michigan's history, so the governor is getting confident. She's given us some pens now. So you might get a pen today, my friend, and thanks. It's great. We did this on roads, and we're doing this again today on Selfridge. So great to have you here.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Matt. Listen, I'll take the $152 million and bypass that pen. I'm okay with it. I got no complaints there. You know, General Kramer was up here, and I got to thank him. Obviously, the men and women at Selfridge International Guard Base do an incredible job, and I think they're recognized not just throughout the entire state, but throughout the nation and the work that they do there. And I'm fortunate, a kid born and raised in Macomb County. I truly understand what Selfridge really means, and I mean not just to Macomb County, but to the state and for our nation's defense. And so, with that, General Kramer is here, and he does an incredible job. But I'm going to tell you, he did mention Paul Rogers. And Paul Rogers, amongst the many people that the governor has hired or brought in as part of her staff or her team who do great work, I'm going to tell you, Paul Rogers was one of the best picks you can have, especially when we start talking about the military defense and all the installations in and around the state of Michigan. He truly gets it. He understands it. And this is where this all started. It started with the generals out at Selfridge. You know, we had Mommen out there. You had Slocum out there. We actually Volker, who's out there right now. We were very fortunate, and even Brancato, to have these folks talking to many of us that really didn't understand what was going on inside. They couldn't champion their own cause, but they turned to us in the community, the base council, our chambers, to get us better understanding as to what was happening. We're gonna be losing this fighter mission out at Selfridge Air National Guard Base. And we were always fortunate to have the support of Gary Peters. Obviously, we have the support of Slotkin, who's out there right now, and I think even Debbie Stabenow, who happens to be with us, was a champion for Selfridge. So the national support was there. And locals, we had to try to figure out how do we bring our representatives in to get them to understand us, the importance of Selfridge, you know, from a nation's perspective, obviously with defense, but also an economic opportunity here. And to make sure that we didn't have to worry about Brackley realignment and closures. And so what we did is we took their advice, we took their counsel, and so we started pushing together. And if you think about it, the one thing that we are united in this country is with Selfridge Air Base, specifically here in Macomb County and in Michigan. There is no dissension about this issue. There may have been a battle as to how long it was going to take and try to figure out how do we get that funding, but everybody here in this state was pushing forward for those fighters and that mission out at Selfridge Air National Guard Base. And, you know, I got to give Speaker Hall a lot of credit. When he said this is going to happen, he's going to push for it, I was convinced because of the work that he did on the roads. The governor did a great job of dealing with the roads at the state level. We then started having conversations about what do we need to do about local road funding. Once Speaker Hall started talking about it, came down, had a conversation saying we're going to get this done, he did. And again, working alongside of the Senate Majority Leader Brinks, they came together, they tried to find a solution, and they did with road funding. I was convinced this was going to happen as well, and I'll be darned if it didn't. And so we're fortunate that $152 million is important because, as was just mentioned, that's going to get us going. And I'm going to tell you, the governor said it before, you know, they landed the plane. And I'm not taking away her thunder, but the reality is this is where the work starts. In fact, we are already starting work at Selfridge Air Base right now to try to get contractors and people that are interested in being a part of that mission out at Selfridge. They can actually go to a website, and that website, I want to make sure everybody's clear on this, is selfridgemissionnext.com. Selfridgemissionnext.com is where you need to go if you're a contractor, a builder, somebody who's looking to be part of this mission moving forward, because there's $1 billion worth of work that's going to be happening at Selfridge before that $3.5 billion worth of hardware, meaning those aircraft come to Selfridge Air National Guard Base. So we're completely elated in Macomb County, but I want to be clear. This isn't just a Macomb County thing. This is for Southeast Michigan. This is for the state of Michigan, and this is for our nation's defense into the future. So I applaud our congressional delegation here in Macomb County. I congratulate everyone, legislator from Macomb County, for being very much mindful in pushing this forward. But all these folks standing behind me had something to do with this, and many that aren't here that were part of this legislation. I want to thank them. And Governor, once again, an incredible job of working together to try to figure out how do you solve problems as the governor of the state of Michigan. And I can't be more impressed and thankful for the work that you have done. Thank you once again. And with that, it gives me great pleasure to introduce the next speaker. This gentleman has been in and around Macomb County all of his life. He is a true champion for many things in Macomb County, but specifically the Selfridge Air National Guard Base. And Senator Kevin Bertel. Senator.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is truly an exciting day. And as Executive Hackle said, it's not just for our region in Southeast Michigan. It's not just for the Tri-County area in Southeast Michigan. This is important for the entire state of Michigan. Now, I have the opportunity to represent the 12th Senate District, which includes the entirety of Selfridge Air National Guard Base. I've also lived in the area my entire life. And when you live in that area, you drive down I-94 very often, and you pass by the base, and I've passed by that base hundreds of times in my lifetime. But you don't always think about the importance, the interconnectedness it has to so many other assets here in the state of Michigan. And for a lot of my life, we were talking about protecting what we have at Selfridge. But because of this investment today and the investment we've made over the last 3 budget cycles with the governor's commitment to Selfridge, we are now talking about growing Selfridge and increasing opportunity at Selfridge, and that's something that I am so excited about as we move into this next phase. This is a huge bipartisan achievement. Now, we're here at a conference talking about finding ways to work together, and to the speaker's credit, this is a way that we can work together to pass meaningful legislation that creates real investments in our communities. $850 million of economic activity happen across the state because of Selfridge. But we will see an investment with this 152, the 60 million that we passed previously, and now another large investment from the feds, $1 billion investment in Selfridge over the next 3 to 4 years. And that's incredible. And so I want to thank so many people that have been a part of this work. The governor made this commitment back in 2022 when I was running for the state Senate. And it's been an honor to work with her and her team, General Rogers, General Kramer, on this project since I was elected to the state Senate. You know, frequently at the beginning of a budget season, I'd meet with our appropriations chair, and the question became every year, all right, how much do you need for Selfridge this time? And that number started at 10, moved up to 24, but this year was a big ask of $152 million. And so our Senate Majority Leader, Winnie Brinks, has been with us every step of the way in this commitment, and I want to thank her for her leadership, not only on this project, but so many other things we have worked on in the Michigan Senate. This couldn't have gotten done without the help of Representative Robinson over in the House. We both chair the Military and Veterans Affairs committees on our sides, and we've been able to build a relationship to work together to get things done, and we're not done yet. So thank you, Ron. With that, I want to welcome up the individual who made this all possible, who, as I said, made a commitment when this was not easy. This was just a thought. This was an idea, but we knew we had to solve a problem. And I am proud we are here together today, our Governor, Gretchen Whitmer.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right. Well, I am thrilled to be here with all of you, fitting as we land the plane here for Selfridge. Today, I am proud to sign a bill that is going to fund improvements at Selfridge Air National Guard Base and keep us on track so we can begin receiving planes, the new F-15EX fighter mission by 2028. This is a BFD. And if you don't know what that means, I'll tell you later, the pink pony. This bipartisan bill invests $152 million to support runway and taxiway upgrades at Selfridge this year. Now, a lot of people worked together to get this done. As you can see, this is a smattering, but I want to acknowledge a few by name. Adjutant General Major General Paul Rogers, Senate Majority Leader Winnie Brinks, Speaker Matt Hall, State Senator Kevin Hertel, Macomb County Executive Mark Hackle, who's not getting a pen because General Kramer's is getting the pen. But Macomb County Public Works Commissioner Candace Miller, the teams at Macomb County Chamber and Connect Macomb, our congressional delegation, especially Senator Stabenow, who spent decades fighting for Selfridge and has joined us here today. Yes, let's clap for all of them. I also want to acknowledge Michigan National Guard Brigadier General Dan Kramer, whose call sign makes him Cosmo Kramer. How cool is that? Two representatives from the Michigan National Guard behind me, the two fighter pilots. We appreciate your work, and everyone who isn't here today but fought for and voted yes on Selfridge. I want to thank you all. None of us does this alone. Michigan has always been at the forefront of our national defense. In the Civil War era, almost 90% of American copper came from Michigan, specifically the Upper Peninsula. We mined the material to make buttons, canteens, cannons, and ships. During World War II, a generation of men and women retooled our auto factories to build the arsenal of democracy, churning out planes and bullets and tanks and jeeps. Today, we are home to world-class military installations like Camp Grayling, Fort Custer, Battle Creek Air National Guard Base, Alpena Combat Readiness Training Center, Detroit Arsenal, and yes, of course, Selfridge. Our defense industry supports 166,000 good-paying jobs and drives $30 billion in economic impact statewide. Our grit and our ingenuity have helped us build everything, from air and spacecraft to ground vehicles and weapon systems. In 2024, after decades of Michigan advocacy by people on both sides of the aisle, two people on both sides of the aisle in Washington, D.C., we secured the K-6 46 tanker mission thanks to President Biden. Last year, we secured the F-15EX fighter mission thanks to President Trump. Together, these missions will lock in Selfridge's future. Selfridge supports thousands of good-paying local jobs, 5,000 military families, $850 million of economic impact annually. It's important to Macomb, yes, but it's important to all of the state of Michigan. So we've been working closely with our federal partners and congressional delegation to prepare Selfridge for the arrival of the new missions. But we needed this state funding, and we needed it fast. So we can now begin the process of upgrading Selfridge's runways and taxiways this year and do our part to get Selfridge ready. We have now paved the way for the Air Force to invest $792 million for the rest of the needed upgrades. That's 4 times the annual budget for the entire National Guards nationwide. This bill, it's not a flyover. Don't worry, we're not using taxpayer dollars for that. But this bill is proof that when we work across the aisle, when we seek to find common ground, we can do anything. We got this done by bringing people together, Republicans and Democrats, military and civilians, the federal government and our local leaders. We're just a few weeks away from America's 250th anniversary, and we're showing the world that when it comes to national defense, don't mess with Michigan. Let's sign this bill. Thank you.